So this is a great easy recipe for getting rid of or using up your leftover mincemeat. We're going to make a Filo pie with a cinnamon crumble topping. It's really easy, you don't have to make the pastry, that's the beauty of Filo, we just have to layer it and brush some butter on there. So for this, we're going to be making a crumble topping first of all, which is a bit of flour with some cinnamon, a small amount of butter chopped up really small, some demerara sugar, but if you only have white sugar that would be fine. And then for the main filling, we're using up some of this mincemeat, and we're going to add a little bit of brandy to there, some chopped apple, and some, actually the nuts are going to go on the top. So that's all for the filling, the mincemeat, the apple, the brandy, and then I'm going to make the crumble, and then I'll just show you how to assemble it. And it bakes in about 30 minutes. So with the crumble, you just want to mix the flour and the cinnamon, and then put the butter in, cut into small cubes. You could do this in a food processor, but it's so quick and easy to do with your fingers because we're not making a pastry. And you just want to rub the butter in from your little finger to your index finger in the flour until it resembles sort of fine breadcrumbs, and this will just take 2 or 3 minutes to do. And this is going to be our crumble topping. So you want the flour and the butter to be like coarse sand, so I've just been rubbing that through. That is about the texture we want. So then we'll just add the sugar. So that's about 50 grams of, I use demerara sugar, which gives it a nice crunch, but caster sugar or granulated sugar would be just fine. And then about 50 grams of chopped almonds. You could use flaked nuts, or even slivers of almonds, they'd be great. So that is our crumble topping, ready to go. Then for the filling, which is going to be the mincemeat, I'm adding about a good sort of tablespoon, that's a very generous tablespoon of brandy to it. Give that a good stir. And then here I have some apple, I've just put a bit of lemon on it just to stop it browning. And I'm just going to put a few of those little apple chunks in there and give that a mix. It just gives the mincemeat a nicer texture and a bit more flavour. And then I will assemble, it's so simple, just assemble the Filo base, which I'll show you how to do. And then we are going to cook it for about 30 minutes at 190. So that's a really nice way of using up your mincemeat. You could use clementines instead. Chop them nice and small. I mean, maybe just half each segment, that's all you need to do, because they'll break down a bit in the oven in any case. And then instead of the brandy, you can maybe, if you have any orange liqueur, something like Grand Marnier or Cointreau, just a tablespoon of that, and that will give it a really nice flavour that will work well with the clementines. So that was just one apple I used in there. And then the Filo, I have my Filo pastry here, hiding under a damp tea towel because I don't want it to dry out. So all I'm going to do is, with this pastry tin here, I've greased it with a bit of butter, some melted butter to hand, and I'm just going to build up about 4 or 5 layers of Filo. You have to work quite quickly with the Filo if it's out in the air because it dries very quickly and it can crack. That's hence the damp paper towel, and you'll find it in the frozen section of most supermarkets. So we'll just put 1 layer in and a nice lot of butter on there, which just makes the layers stick together and gives it a bit of flavour. Don't worry about the edges being untidy at the moment because we are going to make them overlap. So I'll put another layer of Filo, another layer of butter. So after Christmas, I really don't want to be making any pastry for a little while. So this is just a really nice option to have something different for dessert. Another variation, if you had leftover cranberries or cranberry sauce, you could bulk the cranberry sauce out with some apples or clementines and make exactly the same pie, but with cranberries, fruit, and you could add some pistachios to that, and then just put the same crumble topping on top. So I'm on about my third layer now. I've got another layer to go. You don't want to make the filo too thin, because when you take it out of the cake tin, you want it to sort of hold up with the weight of the filling. So about 4 to 5 layers will be enough. And then this, I think, is my 5th layer. So just make sure that they all overlap, so if you have any gaps there. And then we'll put more butter in. Make sure you get in the corners, because you're going to fill the whole of the pie tin with the lovely mincemeat, brandy and apple. So put the mincemeat and apple and brandy filling in, and really sort of push it down into the corners and flatten it with the back of a spoon, as this is going to help it stay a lot crispier. And then we have our crumble mixture here, which is just flour, sprinkle of cinnamon, and demerara sugar and butter. So put the crumble topping all over, and it's as simple as that. Now you want to flatten this as well, because we do want it to go nice and crispy. So let's use the back of that spoon. And then with the pastry, I'm just going to roll that in, and then just put a little, scrumple that in, and then a little more butter over that again. And we'll just get that into the oven now for about 30 to 40 minutes. And that's going at 190 centigrade or gas mark 5. So a little more butter, melted butter, just so that it gives it a nice sheen and make it go lovely and shiny. And how easy is that mince pie and apple cake? It's more of a tart than a cake, but there we go. So the filo, scrumple that over. And in it goes.